Audio is live. It's shaped like a friend. Let's go.
Oh yeah,
guys.
everybody eats their friends. Anyways, let's get ready
Good
to
luck, guys. Have fun.
rumble.
Thanks, man.
All right. So I believe we're in this piece right now. I'm gonna double check by going onto my Twitch so that I can watch myself because I'm conceited.
Oh man.
Yeah, I like to watch me. I like to watch me Twitch and watch me Nene.
Hey, that happens. Sometimes you gotta.
Yes. So here we are live again, once again, with another of your favorite bi-weekly show that's not, the campaign show where we play a game. It's called No Dice. And let me tell you, it ain't over. This week we have our special guest from the Torchlit Tavern podcast, the man, the myth, the legend himself. He plays a myriad of characters in a lot of different little side one-offs and stuff like that. But he's mainly known as our good boy Roy. It's Ryan.
Hello, folks. I am here. I'm happy to be here. For long time listener, first time caller. Thanks for having me. Let's get into this.
Hell yeah, hell yeah. Well, I'm very excited to have you here. You are, of course, you are. A lot of people don't know this, and by a lot of people, I mean probably most of the people who could possibly come across this. Maybe not most, maybe like 3/4. That's still most. Anyways,
Yeah.
You are part of the inspiration behind the starting the podcast at all.
Unfortunately, yes. It is almost 100% my fault.
Ooh, yeah. Almost 100%.
Yeah, back in the day, quite some years now in the past, me and our good buddy DMJ over there we used to work at this lab, and it sucked. But to pass the time, I introduced our good friend Jay to podcasting and podcasts in general, and I introduced him to a show that used to be called Drunks and Dragons, which is now called Greetings and Adventures, which is fantastic. Definitely check it out if you haven't. And then I also introduced him to the Adventure Zone, which was once we finished that show, and we were listening to it like together simultaneously while we were at work and doing stuff. And we were like, or at least Jay came up to me and he was like, we can do that. I was like, yeah, probably. We can do that. And then not too long after that, he was like, hey, do you want to just do that? Like, all right.
Sure, yeah.
And now here we are, over more than 100 and almost 200 episodes later.
Almost 200 episodes later, a indeterminate amount of time later,
a full campaign done in down the drain,
and many hours of pain, laughs, fart jokes, and
blood, sweat, tears, other bodily fluids.
All the bodily fluids, the whole kit and caboodle. There's a little bile in there.
A little. Yeah. No, it's been a wild ride from just from very extremely humble beginnings to still kind of still very extremely humble new beginnings as we are coming up on the start of our second campaign here.
Absolutely. Now, for a lot of the other people on the podcast, this is one of the few campaigns they've ever finished, but most of them have played in a lot of other campaigns.
Yeah.
Many, in fact. But for you, this is your first, right? This is your first major campaign.
Yeah, my first major campaign, because I did actually start technically at that same company. I had also a former coworker got me into D&D for the first time and introduced me to 4E at the time, because there was no 5E, and we got to play on. We went to his pad and we got to play on, like, him and his dad had been into DMing like his entire life, and so he had like all the stuff and had like the grids and all the, he had dice for everybody, and he had freaking the little miniatures and stuff. And we were going through dungeon crawling, and we got to play maybe like 3 or 4 times. And then, as it does, life happened, and that very quickly petered out. But
Yeah, fell
then
right
we
apart.
started this, and honestly, 5e is my jam because
I mean,
it's so easy, man.
I mean, especially when you're going to compare it to the edition that shall not be named, 4th edition.
Yeah.
You know, like nobody was a fan of 4th edition that I've ever talked. Like, that's not true. Very few people I've ever talked to are a fan of 4th edition,
Mhm.
and anybody who was a fan of 4th edition has this very clear addendum that, well, you gotta change it. You gotta change it. But like, it works if you change it. I'm like,
I mean, I feel like that is
kind of
the
doesn't
deal.
work.
For my experience so far, and I've only ever played those 2 editions. Technically, I played like one game of 3.5, but it was like whatever. But I mean, that's just tabletop role playing in general. You tweak it to how you like to play, and it seems
Oh, of course.
all the rule books and whatnot, they're just guidelines. You just
guidelines.
do what makes you happy, what you're having fun with, and who cares?
Of course.
Make your own goddamn rules.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's really the key to it. Like, I think one of the best things about tabletop role playing is the fact that you can really take these guidelines, these basic rule sets, and you can interpret them in whatever way you want. You can put them in almost any setting. For the most part, you could really change it up, and I think that aside from the fact that there's just like a metric shit ton of available, available tabletop role playing games out there that you can just dive headlong into for anything you want to play.
Mhm.
You can even take your basic Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition and be like, I'm gonna turn this into a superhero campaign,
Yeah,
and it will be weird, but it'll work.
Yeah.
Like,
you just got to make it work, and you're all good.
It works if you make it work. Absolutely. Personally, having experience in a couple other editions other than the 5th edition, I do like 5th edition, but I will say it is Dungeons and Dragons with like 2 sets of training wheels on it. Like, there's training wheels on the front wheels too. Like,
as a beginner Dungeons and Dragons person, I appreciate it.
But it is still fun. It does have some really great elements. There's some stuff you could polish, but everybody's going to do that on their own.
That's that's everything.
Yeah. And they're still making more stuff, so we'll see. Maybe it'll last as long as 2nd edition did. Which, fun fact, 2nd edition is the one that they made the most source books for, and was the longest gap between editions.
Is 2nd edition technically advanced Dungeons and Dragons?
Yes. So actually, there's to break it down. It actually goes 1st edition, then there was Advanced Dungeons and Dragons, and then there's Advanced Dungeons and Dragons 2nd edition, then 3rd, then 3.5. And then, not technically part of it, but then a lot of people who made 3.5 broke off. Well, actually, then there was 4th edition. People who made 3.5 broke off, and they made Pathfinder.
Yeah.
And then now there's 5th edition. So quite technically, we're on 8 separate editions. If you wanted to get super technical with it, but
numbers,
who cares? 3, and I guess 3.5 doesn't really count. It's just a bit of a change, but enough of a change that people don't say, I played 3rd edition. They go, I played 3.5.
Exactly. Yeah. I've never heard one person say, I love 3rd edition.
Yeah, no, people don't say it. Let me tell you, if you for some reason think that 5th edition is just too easy and you really want to crunch more numbers, go play 3.5 or Pathfinder and just like crunch the fuck out of those numbers.
Yeah. No.
Anywho's, let's get into talking a little bit about the Dungeons and Dragons that we play together as a group, as a unit. And so, as we just discussed, this was your first major campaign, and you finished it, right?
Yes.
This a milestone like nobody I know has. Like,
suck it, Jay.
Finished your first real campaign. Like, Fuck, good on you,
Yeah, it
bro.
was rad, man. I was happy that it never dissolved because I was horrified that it would at some point, especially oh look. I was horrified that it would at some point. Oh, I'm getting flipped off right now. You can't see this, viewers, but I'm getting flipped off. Um, but yeah, it was cool. It was a wild ride, and I was happy that we saw it through to the end because man, did it feel good to finish it up.
Yeah. Oh, it always feels good to finish, but
Always.
but it definitely, Jay in the chat, I'm the forever DM. It's rude of you. That's not true. Our Twitch channel proves that you are not the forever DM because I'm DMing on that Twitch game. Suck it, Jay. Anyways.
A lot of sucking it that
yeah,
Jay's gonna be doing.
he's gonna be doing a lot of sucking it. Yeah, that's a big deal. And like, I haven't finished very many. I finished my first tabletop role playing game, like that campaign finish, but like
Mhm.
that was a Star Trek campaign, or not Star Trek. Oof. Oh, big oof to myself. Star Wars. Oh, what a
Oh,
fucking
how
just
dare!
kick me right in my nerd balls right now. Anyways, uh, I did finish that one,
Right in
but
the tribbles.
I definitely did not finish my first actual D&D campaign.
Mhm.
And oh, how I miss going back to that character. Oof. Anywho's, uh, this is exciting. Definitely an exciting thing for you, for me, for everybody involved. But let's get into the nitty gritty.
Yeah, man.
And specifically, I want to know. So, like, you started this off, uh, 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 just a baby player, just like
Arguably
how
still a
much,
baby player.
arguably still a baby player. How much of Roy's path as a character did you like plan out, or were you really flying by the seat of your pants the whole time?
Uh Absolutely from the beginning it was I had fucking nothing. Uh yeah, I had absolutely nothing. I definitely, you know, he is your standard rogue stereotype character that you hear about all the time. They're just real stabby. They don't really have a backstory at all whatsoever. And they're a murder hobo, and that is basically what Roy was, absolutely from the beginning. And I didn't realize that was such a huge trope. But hey, there you go.
Yeah, you super leaned into the edge lord rogue trope as hard as you could without even knowing, and I love it.
Yeah, it was pretty funny, and the original inspiration for playing a character that way was I want to play a character that isn't me. And then that character very quickly, with the influence of other characters, very much basically became me without my filter that I put on myself in real life. So
Love it. Hey, it's great to be able to talk without a filter, right?
yeah, so
Let me tell
that
you.
Roy is very near and dear and close to my heart, despite the fact that he is horrible. And yeah, no, it was fun to be that way, or to like, you know, get out of the comfort zone of just like being myself all the time. And it was cool to
Step out of the social norms.
yeah, and then and then you know, later on he just ended up basically becoming me, so whatever. He grew into a somewhat decent person, and I like to think I'm a somewhat decent person, so there we go.
There you go. I think one of the beautiful things about tabletop role playing is how much of you end up putting into your characters, and whether that's something you mean to or you don't mean to. In a lot of situations, it's people don't mean to, but eventually you get to the point where you know that you're going to put some of yourself into your characters, and you try to.
Mhm.
Uh, how much of you ends up in your characters is a really funny thing. And also a fun thing. Speaking as somebody who's made more than a few characters that you could easily consider an asshole, is when people start drawing that line right back to you, and I go, listen, listen. There's more complex scenarios to why these guys are assholes. I'm not an asshole. Well, I'm
Yeah.
kind of an asshole.
At least you admit it, bro.
Yeah,
Dude, you're
Uh,
real.
hey, I keep it reals. I keeps it
You
reals.
are a fully realized creation, Jeff. I appreciate you for you.
Absolutely. Hey, you know what's another funny thing is I don't like only a couple of my characters have really been what you might call people persons, which are like purple people eaters,
Yeah.
which is the opposite of what a lot of people describe me as. Like they'd be like, "Oh, that guy's a fucking," and like a lot of my characters are like, "People."
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I already said my characters are assholes. Thanks for chiming in from the peanut gallery. And fucking peanut gallery off screen here.
Quiet down, audience.
uh,
No,
but yes,
no audience participation.
the only audience participation I'll allow is in this here chat, and that's it. That's
Characters
all.
are assholes.
Mute yourself, damn it.
God, everybody's gonna say my characters are assholes. I've made some nice characters, you fucking pieces of shit.
I can't wait to meet them.
Well, you won't meet them next campaign. Oh fuck! Now she got me in the chat.
Yeah.
Anyways, and you've met some. I made for Avon's campaign. I made such a nice guy. He was so chill. He was the chillest dude. I was kind of mad that I made that character, and then I was like, I'm not gonna play this character again.
Oh, and then your Loxodon though.
Oh god,
was a wonderful character. He was the most polite character you've ever had.
Arguably, without doubt, what the most polite character I've ever had. Anyways, definitely we always put a part of ourselves in our characters, and how that comes through is really, it's just fun and it's interesting to see. So as you got to the end, you know, I feel like this is like a no-brainer, but are you satisfied with how things ended for Roy and kind of overall? But really, I want to go more into like for you as a player and your character.
I am happy with our ending. I do think it was very good. I enjoyed very very much the epilogues. Getting into those, I thought those were a lot of fun, and I enjoyed seeing where the characters went and our ideas for where all the characters are, where they were going, and stuff like that. But also there is a part of me that will forever think, what if I whipped the mantle away from you at the last second and just took it anyway? There is a part of me that will never let that go, because it would have been interesting to see Roy make the transformation. Because for a long time, I feel like we were leaning that direction for some time.
Yeah,
and I know you had always wanted to take it up as well, and that was kind of like your end game almost. But it was also a big deal for me as well, and I think we were both kind of vying for it toward the end there.
I think it was very much a sort of will they won't they sort of thing there at the end for both of us. Like, will it be, and not only was that something that was portrayed on screen, as it were, on recording, but that was something that was very much going on in the background. Because I think that like you had like this part of you that was like, I'm 100% going to do it, and I had a part of me that was like, I think that this is a good move for the character, but I definitely wasn't 100%.
Absolutely, up until that last moment, I was still unsure if I was gonna take it from you.
I get it. No, I was very much like, you know, when I step into a character, I do my best to like really step into there and like let the character kind of like breathe its own life to a certain extent.
Mm-hmm.
So like as Grim, I was very all over the place on my decisions. Like as a player and as a character, I was like, I think this is probably the safest move, right? Like, who better to trust than yourself?
Yeah.
Right. But also, like, this represents such a big thing and all that. I was very on it. Like, I was flipping back and forth. But I think what it really came down to is that, like, I think that if somebody had to make a sacrifice, why not it be the one who it mattered the most to?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it was also very much a, at least as far for Roy, at least retroactively, it in my mind, it became a the giving it up and just letting Grim have it was in retrospect, I guess, kind of I can think of it as a bit of a growth moment for Roy as well, because absolutely, I don't think in the beginning, I don't think Roy would have trusted anyone else to do it, just despite not wanting to do it anyway. uh, but but yeah, him letting it go in the end, I think was a bit of a growth moment for him as well. Where
Yeah,
yeah,
100%, right? Like, and I think that either way allowed for growth moments for both of our characters.
mhm,
But one of the things that, like, and I'm sure that you and you can tell me your side of it after I've spoken my piece here. But one of the things that I kept seeing was the idea that, like, Roy was trying to step up to sort of a responsibility, and like uh I was like, man, I think I as much as like I applaud Roy for wanting to step up to the responsibility of this world he's never been to.
mhm.
Like, there's a world he lives in and a
Yeah, that
city he
was
spends his time in.
yeah.
Like, what about this responsibility? Like, it seemed like for a little while both you as Ryan and you as Roy were like just looking over
Mhm.
the the idea, like, this city is a responsibility that you also should and could take up.
Yeah, that was also that was very much part of the thinking that I was like, oh well, I should step up and do this thing where and like just leave this place and go off to Faye and just go and try and fix things there when really up kind of up until that ending point, like obviously I didn't know we didn't know what was going to happen to Bruce. As far as we knew, Bruce was always going to be around, and same with kind of Dylan. Like we had, I mean, I felt like I assumed that Dylan was, or at least Roy would have assumed that Dylan was going to be there and would be taking care of Griffinport, and so would Bruce. And then by the end of everything, neither of them were there. So it was like, okay, well, this like obviously he grew up, or this character started off as an orphan and didn't have a home and stuff like that. But this place kind of became his home, and he decided in the end to take ownership of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Maybe not in the way that everybody else in the city liked, but Roy's having a good time.
That was another thing I found really funny for the epilogue of, like, how you were gonna handle that. I There was obviously a path set before you of really taking up a strong leadership role
Mhm,
because people supported you. A lot of different types of people supported you in a lot of ways. Like, there was an option there. There was an avenue for you to be a part of rebuilding the city in a very strong way. And to me, it was pretty funny how, like, you were like, yeah, but no. Like, yeah, but no.
yes, but also I don't really want to. But yes, but I'm gonna do it in my way. And so so it became like the joke, like I joked that, yeah, Roy's he'll just be Batman of Griffinport. And we were like, and it was fully a joke at the time, and then we kind of leaned into it, and then I through editing very much made it a thing.
Yeah, I
And
love that. I spent so much time trying to think about what that meant before we got there, because we had talks before things, and you're like, yeah, I think he's Batman at Griffinport, and I was like, what the fuck does that mean?
yeah, no, that was it was fully a joke. And then in the epilogue we brought Randall brought Dylan back to the city, and they were immediately going to arrest him, and I was like, this is the moment. I joked about it, but it's here, and how could I not? So I dropped down from the shadows, and there we are.
I got a cape now. Love it. All right, so my next big question here: uh, is there anything that from the last game, from the last campaign, from the last from the ending of it, or from any point in it, that you any sort of plot lines, uh any sort of like background, any sort of specific things that you were thinking about that you left on the table, other than obviously getting the mantle,
Mhm.
that, like, you're like, oh, I wish that hadn't been left on the cutting room floor. I wish that, like, that part of me wanted to see that come to some point.
There is we've brought this up a few times, and unfortunately, it didn't actually end up happening. But I technically owe Evan a favor,
Yes.
and it was for like dumb shit too. It was I think I was just trying to get more money out of him,
You
and
were yes.
and
You wanted like a painting that was worth money.
yeah, it was like something I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna sell it and get money, and then yeah, Evan had already claimed it, I guess, and I was like, well, if you let me have it, I will owe you a favor. And he was like, all right. And unfortunately, we it like I would remember every now and then, and I would remind Jay of it, and then it just never ended up.
You never
It
turned into
never really
anything.
fit anywhere. So
Yeah.
it just never ended up happening. There is potential for us to do something with it eventually,
Oh
and I
yeah.
don't know what that could be, but
I love that.
we have floated a couple ideas here and there, so we'll see what ends up happening with that. But it is
I
not
love that.
it is not gone.
I mean, especially with Evan sort of taking up this role as a intermediary between the Feywild and the material plane
Mm.
and all the sort of shenanigans that can come with that. Oh man, I
Yeah,
can't.
there is potential for a very goofy little side quest thing that we could do.
Yeah, absolutely. There's potential for any number of things to happen. Like, one of the to sort of call to the reference the last time that had happened when Mullion owed Grimm a favor. When he called that favor in, Mullion just appeared
Yeah,
from wherever he was. He just appeared for that favor. So like if that favor with Evans got that same level of swing, who knows what could happen with
this is
Roy.
very true. I'm kind of horrified that I am replanting the seeds in Jay's mind as we speak, but we'll see what happens.
You know what? We shall see it. I'm as always so excited for it.
Yeah, there's also Jay did toss me a couple of opportunities to perhaps uh romance a couple of characters, and I had thought about it a few times, but ultimately uh I am ultimately in my head Roy is asexual, and so he's not really interested in that at all. And so I'm happy with how goofy we kind of I how goofy I leaned into those situations where something could have possibly happened between him and another character.
Yeah. No, I you know, we have obviously we talk a lot outside of all of this,
Mhm.
this stuff that we record and stuff. And when a meme came through about how somebody was getting frisky with their patron, and I was like, Roy, that could have been you.
Yeah, it could have been, but no. Like that was something I had thought of as well. I was like, maybe if Avil ever like gets is able to become corporeal, maybe that could be a thing. But it was very much more of like a mom relationship with Avil. So
Yeah, it was definitely more familial, more of a
yeah.
sort of mother sort of uh, relationship. So it definitely, I would have, by the end, that would have been weird.
Yes, by the end that would have been odd, but like earlier on, I was like, maybe that could be a thing later. I don't know, maybe, but
Yeah.
thankfully, it never really got that way, and I'm
Yeah.
happy
Well,
with how things ended up.
you know, uh, I'm gonna say I also made an asexual character, but y'all motherfuckers didn't really want to ship that. So
How could we not? It was too good. The relationship between Evan and Grimm was it left a lot open. Let's say there were
well,
moments that were like this could be real sweet right now, but it didn't go that way.
no, it did not. It just wasn't in the cards. He doesn't even have sex parts. Anyways, um,
Anything could be a sex part if you try hard enough.
fair enough. Fair enough. All right. With that being said, we've got it all. It's all in the books. It's all on the record. We've fucking put it out there. We finished that campaign, but the world is not done yet. The world is not
Yes.
enough, according to James Bond. Anyways, so we're moving into the next stage, and we're getting ready for this next campaign. And oh man, the implications of like where we left the world and where we're going are insane.
Yeah.
So I guess let's start with that. Let's start with moving into the next campaign. What are some of the things that you're chomping at the bit to sort of either hear or see or like get answers to or any of that stuff? What are some of the stuff you're super excited for moving into it, the next campaign, world and story wise?
So I am excited, very mainly about technology and how that is going to play a big part in the next campaign. Because at the end of our campaign, there we got into like we kind of got to look at we very very quickly for just a short amount of time we got to see kind of a warforged looking character, and then for a short time there guns were also introduced at the very end there, and so that is
Yeah,
something
Grim
that
had a
is
bunch of them.
going yeah that's something that's going to be a factor moving forward,
Yeah.
especially for my character that I'm going to be playing.
Definitely seeing how the technology evolves and grows, the Tigger wagons and the
Yes.
Warforged, the guns, what's next on the horizon for the technology of the world of the continent of Shar and the world of Torchlit Tavern. I think that is definitely something I too am kind of interested in.
Mhm.
Obviously, like I know a little bit about what's gonna happen because like we're not, you nobody lets you make a character and tells you nothing about the world. Like not if you want to be a part of the story, usually.
Yeah.
Unless it's the first campaign, in which case who knows. But with that being said, like it's exciting to kind of see where the where everything is technologically advanced to, especially since
Yeah.
we know there's going to be a pretty sizable gap between the end of last campaign and the beginning of the next one.
Yeah, we're doing a bit of a time jump, so it'll be cool to see like where technology has taken the people of Shar, but also like how are if any of them are still around, how will any of those old characters and NPCs interact with the new world that they're coming into, if they show up at all.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think that there's a lot of wiggle room for them to show up. You know, and we'll see what happens with there, and like how much a part of the next step they're gonna be,
Mhm.
uh, and how they adjust. Like is Roy gonna be an old man about it and be like, "This technology"? Who knows? Like, like,
Yeah, it's hard to say. It'll
like
be fun to see if it's even a possibility what how those characters will interact in those situations.
absolutely, absolutely. So now that we've kind of discussed one of the things you're most excited for, and you kind of gave the headway into it yourself anyway,
Mhm.
let's talk with however much you want to talk about them. Give me whatever details you want to talk about. He, her, she, they, it, whatever your next character is gonna be. Tell me. Don't even get all the way into it yet. Tell me what the inspiration was first. Let's start with that.
Oh, the inspiration. If any of our listeners are gigantic fucking weebs, um, or just have a base sense for anime in general, my character is somewhat inspired by Winry Rockbell from Full Metal Alchemist. So do with that what you will.
I love that. Inspired by Winry, huh?
Yeah.
I can't wait to see you throw a wrench with deadly precision.
Yes, quite literally. Yes. Yeah. The character is they are going to be an artificer, and
Oh,
that is very exciting for me because that's the first time I'm going to be playing this class. Well, technically second time because I did a quick one off, but like barely got into it at all.
yeah.
So
There's a lot
it'll
there.
be
There's a
fun to
lot to
see how
unpack.
to actually learn and play that class for the first time, really. So
Yeah, like I say, there's a lot there. There's a lot to unpack with the artificer. Relatively new class for 5th edition, but not a new class overall. One could say,
Yeah.
it's definitely been in other editions.
Yeah, it's been through, phases and revisions and whatnot, but it seems like
Yeah,
they have finally kind of solidified what they want it to be for 5e. So, and
yeah,
initially, this character was going to multi-class and be a artificer paladin of some sort. But after seeing what they did with the newest revision of artificer, I think they're just going to be full artificer at this point. So
yeah.
I'm excited to see where my character will end up going.
Where all that goes, of course, of course. When you're making a character, you got to think of things like subclass and all this other
Oh
stuff, and
yeah,
like, and all the features and all the things, and blah, blah, blah. And then artificer is one of those things. It's like artificer is like a half caster sort of,
yeah.
but like the magic isn't even a huge part of it. Like it's it's
It's almost
crazy how
just
much.
it's almost more flavored, just the
Yeah,
magic part, the magic side of it.
yeah, the magic. You could make an artificer build that like never casts a spell, and that's super intriguing
Mhm.
as far as like play elements of it. It gives you a lot of wiggle room and a lot of places to go with that. So I can't wait to see what you do with it. Honestly,
Yeah,
obviously it's going
I'm
to take
really
a while
excited.
before we get into the meat of it, but you know,
Yeah, and I'm just gonna go ahead and let it be known that the character is in fact going to be a warforged. So that will be a fun thing to play around with because I may or may not be doing my own modifications myself on my body.
a
So
warforged
yes,
artificer. Okay, okay.
it is a completely different thing from what my rogue warlock Roy was. So we will see where this goes.
Absolutely, absolutely. I'm so excited to see where that goes and how you take it. Definitely, like Warforged Artificer. It's a match made in heaven, baby. Like,
Absolutely,
come
yeah.
on, come
And
on,
it's
come on.
they are considered to be not the first, but one of the first warforged in the world. So we will see how that actually works at all, considering the time jump. But yeah,
Yeah. Well, that what that really brings to mind here is what are some of the elements you want to bring into this character if you're willing to discuss it, like what are some of the things, like this sounds like a crazy character, like what are you bringing here?
I am bringing a blank slate, in a manner of speaking.
Ah,
I
I love
don't.
it.
I would like to get more into that, but I feel like that would be maybe revealing a little too much.
Hey, you know what? I don't want you to reveal too much. I want you to tell the people what you want to tell them, and I want you to wet their whistles for the opportunity to listen to this as we begin our next campaign, either the beginning ish of next year.
Hmm.
Uh, so I've I'm not gonna push. I'm not gonna push you here. I'm not gonna push you, but I have to say on record where everybody can laugh at my joke that you seem to have really pimped the system
A
in
bit.
D&D so that you just never have to really make a character. Like you just
It's
like
it's kind of it's kind of worked out that way. I mean, it wasn't hilariously enough. It wasn't my idea to make them immediately that. So I mean, once I heard about what the time skip and whatnot, what my character is doing during that entire time is pretty nebulous at this point. So we will find out how that works and how it will fit into our story.
how we'll see. Mr. avoids a backstory at all costs over here.
I mean, it just kind of worked out that way. The first one I had no plans at all, and then this time I was like, I have a plan, and somehow it has to do with me not having a plan. So it just kind of worked out.
No, I love it. I love it. It's it is big and exciting, and I can't wait. Here's another question from the listeners. The listeners being me. Uh, have you gotten your voice ready? Because I know that Roy was essentially
Yes.
just Ryan with like a slightly different cadence. What are you what are you doing? How are you changing it? What's going on?
Roy was just Ryan. I'm being straight up. Roy, I did nothing to that voice at all. Uh, Roy,
Love it.
yeah, no, Roy is just Ryan, straight up. But yes, no, there is a voice, and it'll be fun. I promise you.
Ooh, I can't wait. I can't wait to crack into
Yeah, no,
that.
I have been working on it, and I believe I have locked it in, and it's going to be a lot of fun.
Oh man, I can't wait. I can't wait. So we have a Warforged Artificer who's inspired by Winry Rockbell from Full Metal with, and you got the voice ready. You got the whole package. You got
I'm ready, man. I'm ready to
that's
go.
supposedly a blank slate. So we'll see how that works into it. Uh are you excited? Last week, or not last week, but last episode of No Dice,
Mhm.
we had Mitch on. We discussed very much how
I know
uh
Mitch.
do you know Mitch?
I'm aware of him.
Wow,
He's
he's
a
quite a character,
he's a good guy. I've heard good things.
mostly. Uh we discussed that exact thing, right? Good guys, and how maybe what we're going to bring to the table this time around isn't exactly good guys. What are your thoughts on how that's going to affect you, if you're willing to say, or
Mhm.
kind of like how that's what that means around the table?
I think a lot of how my character is going to end up being is going to be, uh, weirdly enough, almost solely decided by my playmates.
Oof. That's a lot of responsibility to put
It
on
is
two
indeed.
very, very well, let's call them eccentric men in me and Mitch. Um, so that's exciting, and by that I mean, well, have you ever run an evil campaign before? Is all I'm
Yeah,
going to start with.
we'll see. This may end up becoming an evil campaign. We don't know.
We have no idea, really. We have, and I love that, right? I love that. A big part of D&D from the beginning is
Mhm.
this idea of alignment, right? It's written into all the rules, and to the point of like it changing that can have real not good effects on your character.
Yeah,
An alignment shift in most editions will like kick you down like half your levels, like, or something crazy like that. So
yeah. Roy, I would say Roy was very much, if he falls into those alignment things, it was very much of a chaotic neutral. But this character is straight up a true neutral, and it can very
okay.
much go. It can very much go either way, depending on this character's environment throughout the campaign.
Yeah, absolutely. I and I think one of the fun things about Torchlit Tavern is that we sort of highlight the idealism of the the um the alignment
Hmm.
without necessarily focusing on it, because it could be said several of the characters within the last campaign had alignment shifts or had stuff that was worthy of an alignment shift,
Yeah. Oh
you
yeah.
know?
Roy absolutely had. I would say had an alignment shift by the end of it.
Right. And
Absolutely wasn't just willy nilly killing people from like I was in the beginning. So
right. Yeah, absolutely. And with certain alignments you have that wiggle room, with other ones you don't.
yeah.
And you could make an argument. I would listen to an argument made about literally any one of the characters, and I don't know if I would be able to make too strong a counter argument even for the character that I played.
Hmm. Yeah.
uh, and I think that that's a real interesting part of the world that we built with Torchlit, that that Jay is presented with the Torchlit Tavern, uh, is that it's something that we like shine a light on, but we don't like, but it doesn't play the same way as it
Yeah.
does in
It's not black and white like that.
right.
I,
It is
I enjoy a lot of like the gray that Jay has built into this world.
absolutely, absolutely. Giving shit aside, he has definitely played with some really interesting ideas in this campaign so far, and
Mm.
moving into the future. And I think he's really built a very interesting world and story, without question,
Yeah,
thus far.
it is a fun little sandbox, and I can't wait to play in more of it.
Absolutely, absolutely. Uh, so, with that being said, right, we're getting ready. We're on edge. Uh, what is the thing that most excites you about returning to playing in this world? What, like, we already discussed what excites you about the world, but like, what are you excited to play?
What am I excited to play? I am. What
It's
am I
tough one.
excited to play? That is a question,
It's a tough one.
man. I'm just excited to play, man. Just in general, honestly.
Just in general,
I'm
just to get
I'm
in there.
so ready to get back to it.
Oh yeah,
No matter what that may mean for this character, I am excited to just fucking dive head back in.
absolutely. No, I feel it. Whew,
Yeah, this
that's my
it's very
frustration
much
too.
it's very much I have somewhat of a plan for this character, but I am willing to fucking drop it at the just on a dime. I'm ready to let the world shape this character if I really want to. So we'll see where
Absolutely,
things take where the world takes my character.
absolutely. No, I
Because
love it.
I did from in the very beginning when we were planning these new characters, I did have a bit of a specific outline, and there's some of it that I would like to hit, but for the most part, I'm willing to just to ride this wave and enjoy it while I do.
Absolutely. Well, that brings me to a good follow up question. Really, here, how much of a difference was it? Like, not was it? Because obviously there's a huge difference. But how much of a difference for you personally would you say there was uh, in between planning for and executing Roy and kind of like getting ready for this next character? Did you really put like a lot more time into it? Did you put a lot more effort? Like, what is it to you that felt different?
I definitely put a lot more time into this character for sure. I mean, Roy was just it was mainly like what is everyone I mean, we kind of did that for it was mainly just what does everyone want to play and what does everyone want to do. And that was kind of what we're doing this time around too, but I didn't have a plan for Roy at all. And I had like an outline of how I kind of want him to be and how I want him to act, but as far as like any kind of story to him, I had nothing. And at least and for this character, like I do, despite the fact that it sounds like I may not, and I have kind of crafted it that way. But there is a guideline that that I am sort of following this time around. So it is it's gonna be fun, man.
Yeah, I can't wait. I can't wait. I'll tell you personally where I'm at is very much in the same place. Like, I did a lot of work. I did a lot of work for Graham uh,
Mhm.
behind the scenes. I did like a ton of work with Jay. Like, he let me bring in whatever I wanted to bring in, but then it was like, well, I want to bring in something weird. He's like, all right, cool. Well, let's figure out how that works and why it works and all this and da da
Yeah,
da
because
da.
I mean, your character was fully home. I mean, my character to an extent now has is gonna have some homebrew in there, but your
Yeah,
character was almost fully homebrew.
yeah. My character race was completely homebrew, and how it played and all that was just like a, hey, will you let me do this? And he's like, yeah. And I was like, fuck it, yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, like
And
I like for this character that we're gonna be going into, like my main like weapon, I guess. Like we have like it is homebrew from the ground up practically. We have kind of made up a thing that is not in D&D. So we're going to figure that out and see how it works and see if maybe we may need to nerf it.
I love it. I love it. 100%. No, I'm with it
Yeah,
at
no,
every step of the
yeah,
way.
way much tons more planning has gone into this character than with Roy. And despite the fact that I keep saying like it's going to things are going to just happen to this character and that is going to play how this character that is going to affect how the character reacts to the world around them and they're going to be learning learning about this world, really, in a sense. So
Yeah.
it'll be it's gonna be fun.
Yeah. No, I mean, I get it. Like I said, I did so much planning for Grim, and like even coming into this, what's crazy is like I didn't expect to do as much planning again.
Yeah.
Like I came into this like I did a lot of planning, I did a lot of talking to Jay, I did a lot of this and that, and like don't get me wrong, I expected to be like, okay, yeah, we're gonna go over some stuff, but like as I got into it, and as I was like, I think I want to do this, and I think I want to do this, and then Jay was like, well, he started coming back at me with things, and I was like, oh man, well now I'm building this out and doing that, and like don't get me wrong, like without question, that's what I love about making a character. I
Mhm.
love to be really involved with the DM when you're making a character because it helps make you feel like you're part of the world, helps you establish what the character is to you.
Yeah.
Because like anytime I go into playing a character personally, like as I've now made probably tens go probably close to 100, but maybe not extremely close. I don't know, maybe like halfway there. Uh, as I've now made a bunch of characters, going into making a character and playing a character, I personally like to just eat up all these elements that make that character. Even if I don't go over it with the DM a lot, that's things
Mhm.
like what is the racial background? What does that have to do with anything? Like what do we know about that race in this world? How would they speak? Why would they speak like that? Like what do my stats have to do with it? Am I underpowered for something like this? Am I overpowered for a character like this?
Yeah.
Like all these types of things that really help me kind of build this character in my mind. So by the time I'm like stepping into it, I'm like, okay, I've got a good idea who this is. But what I love, and I'd love for you to give me an example of something like this for Roy,
Mhm.
and obviously this is kind of what your whole next character is based on, is this idea. But what I love is the part of the character that comes out when it starts walking on its own,
Yeah.
right? As I said, I really get in there and I live in it. I just try to be like, okay, I'm gonna make a person. And like, that may sound kind of crazy, but that's how I do it. I try to like, I'm gonna make a person.
Mhm.
And eventually that person is like making the decisions, right? Like that
Yeah.
it's going down those paths. And like sometimes stuff comes out of that character that I didn't put in there. I didn't plan to put in there,
Mhm.
but it became a part of what the character was. Like I had a character that developed a rage issue that I didn't plan to have a rage issue, and
Yeah.
that what happened around him didn't make that happen, but it was something that did happen. And obviously the DM's a part of that to a certain extent, but it's really cool when that kind of stuff happens.
Yeah. It was cool for coming in with Roy because Roy. I mean, I didn't have anything. Roy was uh, Roy had no plan. Roy was just kind of floating. That character was floating through life, and I made him that way. And I made him. He was kind of down for anything, and so as long as he was into it himself. But
Yeah,
yeah, Roy had no plan at all whatsoever throughout most of the campaign, and I have come with this character. I have somewhat of a path that I wanted this character to go down in the beginning, and as we are getting closer to it, I am finding that I want it to be a little more fluid than that. But
sure.
there is an like I had no ultimate goal for Roy, but I do have somewhat of a goal for this character, and that is fun to play with right now in
Yeah.
my head a lot, and I can't wait to put a lot of that into practice.
What if any things that you didn't really plan for Roy became a part of Roy as the character kind of took on its own life?
I did not plan for the character to one turn into me, but
Fair.
uh, a lot of Roy's changes definitely came from the influence of of Mitch and Bruce is of of what they kind of took my character under his very large wing, and
Yes.
so it helped. It Roy, Bruce became Roy's conscience in a way,
Yeah.
whereas
Absolutely.
Roy absolutely did not have one when I started, and so yeah, it was interesting to see that. Like it happened very organically. Like we didn't talk about
Right. There was no planning.
there was no planning of that at all. It just kind of happened, and at the time when those changes were happening, I even me, Ryan, I did not know about like Bruce's backstory really. Like I didn't know about his daughter, and I didn't know that he had lost her, or that he had even had a family at one point.
Yeah.
And at that time in the campaign, Roy didn't know either. So it was very much a just natural thing that happened, and I'm very happy with the way that it turned out.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, that's killer. Like I say, that's that kind of stuff that just happens. Like, I and I love that about when you make a character. Like, is it gonna have this? Is it gonna have that? Like, oh shit! Like this is actually happening. And I think, you know, I bring it up to talk about how like you basically made a character that's gonna be a big part of of your
Hmm.
your whole play stat, your whole play style, your whole tactic is like what's gonna come that I didn't expect to come.
Yeah, I've decided to fully lean into that.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it so much. I was like, what if I base my entire character around it? But yeah, it was fun to see Roy transform into me, I guess. But yeah, this character uh doesn't will not have the same kind of role models that Roy was able to luck out and find. So
No, no,
yeah,
no. Well,
who knows?
hard to say,
Maybe
I guess,
yeah, I
but
guess we'll
it
find
won't be
out.
from me or Mitch. I'll tell you that much right now.
Yeah,
Won't be from me
my
or
fellow
Mitch.
players may not be helping with that very well, but we'll see.
Yeah, we will definitely see. Can't wait. Uh Speaking of this idealism, speaking of this whole thought, right? It's like you're going to be crafted by the influences around you to a certain extent, and that's gonna guide you along your way. And the last time that started happening, it was a major shift from character concept Roy to this character is a lot like me.
Hmm.
What are you going to try to avoid that this time?
Yes. Ideally, yes. That is not what I want. I'm also yeah, I would like to steer clear of that again, because I feel like I've heard that that is basically just what a lot of characters end up being, kind of, especially like a person's first character, and that's
Right.
very much what Roy was for me. And so, stepping into it, going for round two this time, I would absolutely like to avoid that. But I mean, the way that I've kind of crafted it, not out of the realm of possibility to happen again.
Well, I mean, hopefully without giving too much away, will is your plan to like actually steer away from that, like even if it seems like it's steering that direction?
I will definitely attempt to, but if the things around me just keep kind of steering me that way, and it feels good and organic, and I like the way that the story is like, I like the way that things are progressing, then then I might lean into that again, but ideally it would be different.
Absolutely, absolutely.
As long as
Hear
it
that, Jay? Don't push him to be him again.
yeah, Mitch. God. But yeah, no, I
uh,
will, yeah, I'm definitely planning to this character is going to be their own thing. That is what I hope for.
yeah, yeah. I mean, as I say, most characters are going to end up having a part of you. You just gotta the easiest way to avoid it being you completely is to decide what parts
Yeah.
of you are in it. So, um,
I
I
need to
know
find
that you can't.
some hard stops is what I need to find.
Right. And I know that you can't give away because it's giving away too much. But the question I want to ask is, what parts do you think you want to be in this character of you? If you don't want to tell me because it's going to give away a big part of who the character is in your mind, but that's fine. But that's the part. That's what eats away at me on the
What do
inside.
I want them to take from me? Oh man, haven't even thought of that. But
See, this is the kind of stuff. This is why no dice is an important part of your daily diet. Let me
yeah,
tell you, like you gotta. That's one of the things I'm sort of not necessarily struggling with, but sort of chewing on in my own mind. And I know that you like who Ryan is, Jay, but you can't force character growth by just making him become himself. That's just lazy. All right, I'm gonna say it now on record. It's lazy, Jay. Anyways, I also like who Ryan is, but let's
thank you.
get out the box. Let's get out the box here. One of the things that I'm like really working with on my side is like the parts of him that the parts of this character that I want to be me, the
Mhm.
parts of the parts of this character that I think should be me, and like or the parts of it that should be my experiences, and like how drastically different some of that is.
Mhm.
Like I have, without getting too deep into it, I have a wealth of experience in a lot of different things that as anybody does, right? You live your life, you see things, you learn things, right?
Mhm.
I've learned so much, I've seen so much, but like some of what I've seen and can bring to the character based on what I've seen, and I don't know firsthand, and in fact is so different from who I am,
Yeah.
and like uh deciding what parts are still going to be me is something I'm still definitely going through and probably will be going through as we play
Yeah.
for the first at least, like 5 episodes minimum. Like,
Yeah. With Roy, since he ended up kind of coming into it, since a backstory was forced, uh, he eventually there was a lot of darkness to Roy, and there isn't really any of that for this character. So that will be interesting.
is there a lot of darkness to Ryan?
Yes. Yes, dear listener, there is.
Ooh, man, got me. I got tingles. I got tingles. Ooh, well executed. Yes, there is darkness to Ryan. I love it. I love it. Absolutely. Um, So you want to play something that's not seen a lot, right?
Mhm.
Not well known, or kind of seen in a different way than maybe you're going to present the character. Again, I'm not trying to give anything away. This is just like who knows how it's going to be, right?
Mhm.
Um, so with that being said, you are entering a world where you may be viewed differently than how you are. And this is going to be a real heavy question that my mind just came up with. So fucking strap in.
Let's go.
Speaking as a racially diverse person yourself, such as
Yes.
myself, right? We are both racially diverse. Uh, how much of that is one going to kind of affect you, if any, right?
Mhm.
Or two, are you going to bring into this idea of being this? I don't even want to say outcast, but being seen differently than you may end up being.
That is uh that is definitely going to come up. I do believe it. That some personal experience is definitely going to come through there, and we'll see how if it ends up being good or bad. I guess.
Shoot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm trying. It's it'll be challenging, but
Yeah.
hopefully not too challenging for the listener.
Yeah. I mean, hey, I'm all down with challenging the listener to think and see things differently. But yeah,
Yeah,
it's definitely
I don't want to make people uncomfortable, but I would like to. We are going to touch on some things.
yeah, definitely. And as I discussed with Mitch last episode, it's it we're not trying to touch on anybody's trauma or anything like that, but
Mhm.
we're definitely also it is not our responsibility to to like know what your
Mhm.
trauma is,
Yeah.
or what happens, what's going on in your life. Ours is just to tell a story about what we see and how we interpret these things in our lives, and in these hypothetical scenarios.
Mhm.
And it is, I think that, every story has something you can take from it. And uh you know what you can take from our stories is is not even on paper yet, but uh
Yeah, there is there's going to be I want these characters to feel real.
yeah,
There is there is a sense that, oh yeah, they are just characters and obviously this whole thing is fiction, but I want our stories that we tell to affect people. I want them to feel something when they come and listen to our show.
yeah,
Like this isn't like, yeah, we're here and we're going to be telling some, dumb stupid fart and dick jokes all the time, but also like I want you to feel this podcast. I
yeah,
want it to affect you. I want you to be thinking about it when it's done, because that's what I want out of the media that I like to indulge in. I want to be thinking about it by
right,
myself, like apropos of nothing. I want it to just pop in my head and be like, "Damn, that was some real shit that I heard." And
right.
like I
Something that
want
you really have to internalize.
yeah, I want people to like connect with it in a way, and like
Yeah,
it I want it to help people in a way as well. I want it to help people grow as the character grows along in the story.
sure. Yeah, no, yeah, fuck, I'm with it. Fuck, I'm with it. Yeah. That brings me to a really interesting point and or question, more
Mhm.
question than point. Uh, which is, last campaign, it was our freshman campaign as a podcast and as a group,
Don't say
you
that.
know.
Don't say that. Don't say that. Don't bring up a sophomore slump, my friend. What are you
I'm not
doing?
going to bring up a sophomore slump.
knock,
No, not at all.
knock,
Uh,
knock.
but yeah. With that being said, like we were very much getting a feel of things, right? We're
Mhm.
getting a hang of our gangly bodies, as it were, and that included a lot of humor, a lot of humor to diffuse, a lot of humor because we're just those kind of guys. We
Mhm.
make dick jokes, da da da, and going into this next campaign, into this next stage, which is really going to be which in my mind is really an opportunity to step into this sort of, slightly more seriously to a certain extent, right? To like, this is not necessarily like we haven't taken it seriously up to this point, but this is our take two. This is our sequel. This is like,
Yeah.
and sometimes, like with a great book, sometimes you've never read the first one, but you did read the second one or the third one. You know, everybody's read Lion the Witch, but who's read the Wizard's Nephew? You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Like, it's a thing. Uh, and so with that, like, for you, do you want to take this more seriously? For where do you see this campaign going? Do you personally, like, not even just like all of us taken out of the equation, like, do you want this to be more seriously, more dramatic than the last one? Do you want it to kind of keep the same balance it's had? Where do you see in your mind? What's Hey, I didn't ask you to roll anything.
Apologies.
No dice.
No dice. I put them down. I'm sorry.
But where's it going for you?
I like to, as much as I enjoy the japes and the goofs and the jokes, I enjoy that seriousness and the realness of our show, and I like to toe that line. I think the there is a balance, and I think we hit it decently well the first time around, and I would like it to go smoother this time around. You're still muted, but
Thanks. I didn't press the button hard enough. Okay. So you think we did pretty well the first time, and you want to toe pretty well the same line? Do you want to be a little bit more serious, or
I would
you
like.
think we're
I just want to. I want to. I want to split those pins right down the
okay?
middle. I enjoy. I enjoy a bit of both. I don't want it to lean too much to one side, I suppose.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, and I I I get where you're coming from, 100%. I personally, I'm super on the fence about it, to a
Yeah.
certain
Because
extent, right?
like I mean, as serious as we are kind of taking D&D these days, considering it is a show that we are making for entertainment, it is also still a show that we are making for entertainment.
Right,
This is very much an escape
right.
from the trials and tribulations of the real world. And as much as we would like to touch on it from here and there to make you feel some real shit, I would also like to immediately make you laugh those tears out of your eyes.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah,
For me,
I want people to come to our show and feel uh, like it is in a way their safe place.
yo, I feel that. I feel that for sure. And I think that that's been a lot of I think there's a lot of examples of that in podcasting shows as of late, especially.
Yeah, I
And
mean it was very much our safe place over the last couple of years. So
yeah, absolutely. It was for us, without
yeah.
doubt. And hopefully it was for some of our viewers, some of our listeners. Um, and I get that, like, and so many others have been too, right? Adventure Zone has been a lot of that for has been that for a lot of people,
Mhm.
and even the guys that do that do the My Brother and Me podcast. That's to a similar extent. I'm sure that has been some people's safe place,
Absolutely.
and maybe even Joe Rogan's podcast, or who knows what else. Like,
Mhm.
everybody has their own version of sort of safe place to be and to exist. uh for me, I think the biggest question that comes up when I'm thinking about it is, do I consider us, if I were to describe us, would I say it's a like a a action with some comedy and drama, a drama with some comedy and action, a comedy with some drama, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Mhm.
what like what do I think is sort of the lead chair in this explanation of what we are, in this in what we are at the end of the day.
Yeah,
And
are we a dramedy or are we a comma?
pause. It's hard to say, and that's definitely a big part of what goes into my brain, as far as, like, as obviously a representative of what we're doing,
Mhm.
and a viewer of it. Like, even just to describe it to other people, like, oh yeah, like, if I wasn't on it, like, I'd really
I'm just
like.
waiting for the day that our show just it veers hard left into like a romance novel.
You know what? That'd be weird, for a lot of reasons, but I think it'd be good. It could be a lot of fun. And I'm gonna tell you, the first reason that I think that'd be weird is because that means I'm getting into a romance, most likely with, or not me specifically, but somebody's getting into a romance, most likely with one of the other players, or Jay. And, like, personally, like, getting into a romance story with Jay, I really have to buckle down on that. Really have to buckle down on that, because it's too hard to laugh. It's too easy to laugh.
Yeah.
Well, and don't get me wrong, we could do that. Me and Jay kind of have a bit of a romance already. I'm not gonna lie to you. Sorry, CLO. But
But not sorry, Katie. Okay. Okay.
no, no, Katie knows. Katie knows. But with that being said, uh it would be real it would be an interesting, it'd be an interesting development, because there'd have to be some comedy there. There'd just have to be, right? I'd just be too goofy. I would
I
be
mean
too goofy with it.
I mean if you're a fan of Chuck Tingle, you know, a rom it can be a comedy romance novel, a rom com, if you will, in a way.
Could be a rom com. Next
I don't know.
campaign, the rom com campaign.
This is it. This is the one, guys. Strap in.
Strap in the rom com campaign. You know what? I'm with it. Wherever we're going and whatever we're doing, I'm with it. And I know that all I can tell you is that I know where we're going to start. And we're going to start with some really interesting characters and some really gritty stories.
Yeah.
And some really heavy stuff. And fuck, I cannot wait to see where we take it from there. Because from the little peek behind the curtain that I've got, it could go any version of sideways, upways, downways, and diagonal from there.
Yeah. Yeah, it's going to be an adventure.
Hey, it definitely will be an adventure. Absolutely. And that's the best part of this. It's the best part of this whole thing. So I mean, like, I don't know, we've been going for a little over an hour. Do you want to keep going, or do you want to, what are you thinking?
I'm thinking that I don't want to tease our audience too much longer.
You know what? I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that too. I think we've got a good baseline.
Yeah, we've given them a taste. I don't want to spoil the meal.
Of course. You can't spoil dinner. Especially as Thanksgiving's coming up here. Just kidding. Everybody spoils their Thanksgiving dinner a little bit. Duh.
Every time. Can I tell you? Especially if you're the one making it, you got to be like, you got to taste the food. You got to make sure it's good. You can't just give people shit you haven't tried. That's not all right.
That's not. Who does that?
Call yourself a chef or a cook or a baker. Get out of here.
Get out of here. You know? Exactly. No, it's. Ooh, let me tell you. And plus the hors d'oeuvres, a.k.a. the hors d'oeuvres, get out. You know, I don't know what your family's like. I don't know if you're like a dip family or if you're like a deviled eggs family, but it just doesn't matter.
Bro, it's lumpia. Hook it up with some lumpia.
Ooh, you got the lumpia family?
You know it, bud.
Talk about that racial diversity. Bring it in. Oh, man, I could eat 25,000 of those things.
Honestly, they're fucking crack.
It's bad. It's bad. Don't have that as an appetizer at my house because, like, I'll never make it to dinner. I'm sorry.
Straight up. Straight up, that shit is dangerous.
It's dangerous.
Sometimes we pop in there with some. You know those Hawaiian rolls?
Yeah.
Hawaiian rolls.
Yeah. Classic.
You cut up some Spam.
Ooh. Okay.
You slap some teriyaki sauce on those bad boys, and you put it in between that Hawaiian roll.
Okay.
It's delightful.
You know what? I don't like Hawaiian rolls.
Hey guys.
Yes.
I'm getting very hungry listening to y'all talk about.
I'm sorry.
My bad. That being said, I love Spanish.
Sorry, director. We'll get off of that right now.
We'll get off the food topic.
Thank you. I'm in there cooking food for tomorrow that I'm not supposed to eat now. Are you kidding me?
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean, hey, don't eat those pies.
No promises.
So what we'll do here is instead of continuing to do this food talk, we will let's start the wrap up processes. As always, this has been No Dice, a show where we discuss role playing, but we don't role play shit.
No, you didn't hear me drop a dice earlier. That didn't happen.
There was no dice.
There were no dice on this show.
It's
in the title.
It's in the title, for God's sakes. And
I'm never gonna be allowed back on this show.
You're gonna have a suspension, bud. So we are happy that you came and you watched. Whether you watched it live on the Twitch or whether you're on our YouTube, that's youtube.com/Torchlit Tavern. Isn't that correct?
That is correct.
Absolutely. Either way, we love to have you there. Please, we are so close to fulfilling some requirements for the Twitch. If you are not following our Twitch and you watch this anywhere, anyhow, anywhen, please go follow our Twitch channel. That's twitch.tv/Torchlit Tavern. Come follow us. We do at least one show weekly.
Follow.
Give us a follow, give us a subscribe, give us a whatever you can give us. We love you for it. We do at least one show a week, and we're gonna try to do more. Maybe we'll get Ryan in here to do a weekly baking show on Twitch. Oh, wouldn't you love that?
Mayhaps.
Wouldn't you love that? Let me tell you what I would. I 100% would love that. I'd tune in every week, and not just because I'm a part of the company. All right. I also really like baking.
Your boy likes to
So-
bake. It's a good time.
It's a good time. So let's do like we do always. Let's say thank you, Mr. Mr. Santos, Mr. Ryan himself. Thank you again for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being a part of the show. Thank you for inspiring this wild thing that we do here at Torchlit Tavern.
Yes,
And-
I'm honored, and I'm sorry to have taken up so much of your last 3 or 4 years.
You know what? I'm not even mad about it. I'm not even mad. Even all the hours I fell asleep in front of editing that fucking show, I'm not even mad about that. And there are many hours I did that.
Many of them, I know. I witnessed some of them.
Yeah. Yeah. You witnessed me falling asleep just playing sometimes. Let's not talk about the editing because I was doing like 30 hours of editing per episode. It was insane. Anyway.
A lot of work goes into this show, folks.
Here's your opportunity at the end of No Dice. Give a shout out to all your social medias, and you better include your baking Instagram on there.
God damn it. Okay. All right. Peoples, if you haven't already, you can find me on Twitter at Ryan SCB Santos. On Instagram, I do believe that is my actual Instagram is SCB11191. My baking Instagram is These Are the Bakes. And find me just doing my thing.
Hell yeah. And of course he does his wonderful silky voice thing for us here at Torchlit, and you can find us. Just put Torchlit Tavern into the Google. You can find us pretty well anywhere. Please give us a follow, give us a rate, give us a subscribe, whatever it is, give it a try. You can
Hey, maybe we come back and we do another No Dice and we talk about editing.
Ooh, an editor's No Dice?
An editor's No Dice.
I'm putting it on the calendar, so look out for that. Next, I love it. Dropped it in the chat for you. Dropped it in the chat for you, baby boy. All right, next episode of No Dice, which will of course not be next week, but the week after next, we are looking towards having not editors. Editors, we're going to say. We're going to look towards having a DMs episode of No Dice where we might have more than one person on. So we'll do that.
damn.
We'll have fun with that. And then
Hey, you know who won't be there? Me, because I don't DM.
That's right. That's right.
But
Yeah,
maybe,
like
maybe I'll ask some questions. You don't know.
hey, you don't know.
Maybe I'll pop in the chat.
Hey, and anybody who pops in the chat has a right to ask any question, and god damn it, I'll put it on the goddamn show. I'll tell you that much. So once again, thank you for coming by. Tune in next week. Next episode. Tune in next week, even. Tune in next week for our
Don't miss out on some Wacko Mundo.
Wacko Mundo, where your man, the myth, the legend, Jeff himself is the DM of a game that just takes place in such a fairy tale world that you couldn't even imagine. I got a wild bunch with me, and I can't wait for you to see what happens next. So thank you, and we'll see you around the way. Until then, tell good stories.